now. So, right, so the first card you've got for your past is this Nine of Wands. Okay, so yeah, lots and lots of wands here, all kind of bunched up near the top there. You've got lots of cups as well, but what's really standing out are these wands. So lots and lots of movement. Yeah, I think there's a lot of movement coming up for you. I'm seeing movement in work, and just moving ahead within yourself, letting something go, moving ahead. I'm getting all that kind of energy. Might even be some travel as well. I don't know where you are right now. Some people are locked down, some aren't, but it's coming up at some time for you. Yeah, lots and lots of changes. But at the moment, it actually feels like you're not like that. It feels the opposite, actually. There's not a lot happening physically around you right now. It feels a little bit stagnant. So, because you've got the Eight of Cups in the middle with all that stagnant green water. It's kind of sitting there still. And but the movement at the moment, it's very small, very subtle. That's how it feels. It's happening inside you. And so, yeah, if you looked on the outside and someone looked at you, they'd probably say, well, there's not much really happening. You're not really doing a lot. You're just kind of doing your thing, working, nothing really crazy happening. But there's a very subtle change happening inside. And if this is happening to you, this is how you'll be feeling. It's almost like, it's very small. It's almost like, when the seasons change, when it's suddenly springtime and it feels lighter and the air feels different and everything feels different and you get that different feeling. Or when it's autumn and it's like, oh, I feel different. It's that kind of little change. It's almost like changes in the air. I can feel that. So if you can feel that, even if it's small, just know that change is starting inside you. And that little tiny change, it's going to start to something bigger. So don't ignore that. And the thing is, if you're starting to feel that little change, a really good thing to do is just get that time to yourself, meditate if you can. Because if you can do that, this is the time when lots of new ideas can start to come in, and you've got the Eight of Wands here with lots and lots of things flying in the air. So, so lots of ideas might come to you that might help you to take action on things. So just do that if you're getting that feeling. That's something I wanted to tell you about that. Just looking at this Eight of Wands here across the top horizontally, looking at these two together. So yeah, it's right next to the Nine of Wands, this Eight of Wands. So the first thing is, you can see with the Nine of Wands, with this man, he's a soldier, he's really tired, his head's been injured, he's moving forward, but it's very slow, very slow, very tired. So very slow movements happening with you now, and it's starting on the inside. But then when you're ready to move properly, you'll be in the Eight of Wands energy. Something big is going to happen in the future for you, and you'll be ready at the right time. So that's what those two cards are telling you at the top there. And yeah, the other thing I'm getting in this sequence is, this is really interesting. You're going from 9 to 8 wands. So one's missing, one's not there anymore. So what that's telling me is you might have left someone behind. I think you've left an old love behind. It's like one less person's around you. It's like Sesame Street. One less person, whatever that is. Something missed. I can't remember what it is. Anyway, I won't be silly. So you've left someone behind. And I think you've let go of someone. It feels like they're still around your mind, though. That they're still around your mind. Because again, I'm looking at this man in the Nine of Wands, and he's got this bandage around his head. So someone's still on your mind. I don't think you want to get back together with them. But I think you're still thinking about, things they say, things that have happened. It's like memories are coming back into your mind. That's kind of what I'm getting. So, so I think maybe because of that, you've still got some old energy around you. So you're not quite ready right now for all these big changes to happen. So you've got a few things to get through. But if you get through each day, you keep on moving forward, and also do some meditation. All of that will help you to kind of build up to this, when you're ready to move forward rapidly in the Eight of Wands. So I hope that helps you. I hope that made sense. Okay, so I want to talk about the Six of Wands now, and the World as well, actually, because I'm getting a few different things between those two. So, yeah, so the Six of Cups can be about reunions. So I think someone's going to come back and talk to you. Yeah, I think someone's been talking to you a little bit already, on and off. I'm getting text messages, things like that. It might be this ex I was getting in the Nine of Wands that you've left behind. There is someone here, it might be them, might be someone else, but there is an axe here. And you've had, I'm seeing text conversations between you that have happened. And so it feels like either you're friends now, or you just have a very civil conversation with them. It might be that you've got children with them and you have to talk about things like that because there are children in this card. So, it might be that you just have to talk about, physical, practical things that are happening between the children, when you drop them off, when you see them, things like that. Or it might be that you are actually able to talk more as friends now. But it's platonic. It's a platonic, connection between you now, however close or far away it is. So, okay, so I have to say this for someone. I'm getting this really strongly for someone. I don't know if you realise this or not, but just with this bandage around this man's head in the Nine of Wands and with this card here, it feels a little bit parent and child. That's the feeling I'm getting around this. Now, I'm not saying that they're not your parent, this person you're talking to. This is definitely an ex. This is an ex-love connection. But what I'm getting is it feels like they perceive themselves, or themselves, I should say, in that parent role with you. Now, it feels quite subtle. It's not like they sat you down and said, right, these are the rules. I'm the parent. You have to do this. It's not like that. It's more subtle. It's more like they've got this air of superiority and what they say goes. So that's what I'm getting. Now, I'm sure you don't agree with that. I'm sure when you look at this person and you think about them, you think, no, they're not smarter than me. They don't know any more than me. I know just as much as them, if not more, about this and that. Why should I listen to whatever they have to say? But it was a very subtle, very, very subtle thing that went on, I think, between you. And, I think when you're with them, a lot of their decisions went. A lot of what they wanted happened before you. So you wanted things, and the default was that it went to them, the decision making. That's kind of what I'm getting between you. And they had you very subtly, sometimes I think, believing that what they wanted was what you wanted. So that's what I'm getting there. And I think to this day, if that's you, there are some things you might not realise about that, even to this day. And I think that's why you've got to work through this old energy before you can move forward properly, because of a lot of that. So I hope that makes sense to someone. So yeah, what I'm getting here is with this card, with the Six of Cups here, this is reunion. So there's a message that's going to come in from this particular individual, if that's you. And yeah, do you know what? I think when this message comes in, it feels a bit like a switch going off, a light switch going off in your head, actually. And I think you'll get to see the true them. And I think you'll realise, wow, they've done this all along. They've always had what they wanted as the default. They've always had this idea that they're superior, or their ideas are, more clever than mine, and they know better than me. It's all that kind of thing. And what they have to say to you, it's going to be really obvious. They might even come out and say, no, I know better than you. No, you don't know about that. I know that. So it might be something very, very obvious. And this is the first time I think they've been very obvious with this. So, it's going to be in full colour mode. You're going to see the light switch going off. The light's going to go onto this, and you're going to see exactly what they're like. And yeah, I think I should say. So yeah, you've had, what I'm getting here is you've had glimpses of that in the past. So when you were with them, you had these little flickers of wisdom. It's like, is that really fair? I don't know if that's right or not. Do they really think they know better than me? So little glimpses of that, because people like this can't keep it up forever. The mask slips sometimes, every now and again. They can't keep it up all the time. So I think you had these little glimpses of their attitude coming through. And yeah, I don't know whether you've ever turned on one of those really old light switches where the switch is kind of halfway up and halfway down. The ones around now, it's either on or off. It doesn't happen. With the old ones, you could kind of, have them halfway up and halfway down. My grandma had them in her house, these old light switches. And as a child, I'd kind of mess around trying to get it halfway. And then what would happen was the light would kind of flicker on and off, and it was really cool because I was easily amused as a child. But yeah, that's what's happened to you. You've had these little glimpses, little flickers of light come through when you're with them. It's like, actually, that's not really fair. But then because they were so subtle, you're kind of convinced to go along with what they wanted. But now the full light is going to be shown on what they're like. So, you know, I think if this is you after this happens, after this message comes in, and it's very, very obvious, you might still want to be in contact with them. You might not. You might have to if you've got this practical situation between you, if it's children or whatever it is. But you are going to totally move forward now in your head. You're going to be able to take that bandage off your head that's on this poor man's head in the Nine of Wands now. And that's going to help you to move forward. It's still a process. It's not going to be like, oh, the switch is off, right, I'm ready to move on. No, you'll still have things to process. But I think you'll be totally on alert. You'll be totally aware of what's happened to you in your past, if you haven't already. But that's what I'm seeing happening to you. So yeah, all that kind of, you know, because you had all these words in your head, like, oh, if I did this, would they approve? Whether you realised it or not, very, very subtle. That's all going to go now. Your thoughts are going to be centred around you. The energy is going to be around you. It's not going to be around what they thought, what they said, memories of what happened. It's going to be totally around you. And again, look at the Six of Cups. I don't know if you can see this, but on the left hand side you've got a man. It's very, very small, and he's walking out of this card, literally right on the left. So you're walking out of that situation in your head, you know, mentally, emotionally, and all that. So this is the turning point for you to start to move forward. And yeah, you've got the World card under this. The World card's about freedom. So you'll get that freedom when, you know, you've moved out of that old energy. And, you know, the other thing is you've got the World card with this beautiful laurel wreath, which is victory. So you're going to get victory over this old situation. And also you've got the Six of Wands over there, which has the same laurel wreath. That's about victory as well. So double victory, double victory. Very special reading for you. Really, really nice. Yeah, this is a big turning point. It's big. Yeah, I really hope this makes sense to you. I really hope this makes sense to someone here, because this is this message that's going to come in. So prepare for this to come in, but it's going to be a big catalyst for this change in you. It's already started. This is going to move it across really quickly now. Okay, so, right, so the first card you've got for your present is this Eight of Wands here. So, right, okay, so I'm not going to talk about this ex after I say this. Just one more thing I want to say about them. I promise I'm not going to say any more about them. But yeah, when you get this message, and I think you will if this is you, you know, that realization, it's like, oh, that's what they're really like. I can really see this now. I think that's going to open up a whole lot of other realizations about them as well. It's like, oh, I made that decision, but it wasn't really my decision. It was their decision. That's what I'm getting. I think they might have convinced you to do something really, really big in your life. And you didn't want to do this. It went against your core, actually. But you went along with this because I think they convinced you that that was what you wanted as well. And, you know, I think at the time when you had to make this life-changing decision, I think if you really had have looked inside your heart and looked at your true core, you would have said, no, I don't agree to this. But yeah, there's one big thing that happened in your life, and it really changed the course of your life, and everything after that went a different way. It might actually be moving or traveling to somewhere new, because you know, with this Eight of Wands, you can see them, they're all flying into the sky, flying in one direction. So it might literally be flying to somewhere or moving. But if it's not that, you know, your life was going in one direction, flying in one direction, and then this decision was made and your life went into a totally different direction. And it was because you went against what you wanted, even though you were convinced that it was what you wanted, but it wasn't. It was what they wanted. And so obviously, you know, you can't go back in time. You can't change that. But now that you're realizing that, you can do things that are going to get you moving in a direction that you want now. So it might not be that if it was moving to another place, it might not be that you can click your fingers and move back now. You might not move back there. You might move to somewhere totally different, or you might just change your life into a different way. But now that you can see all that, you're going to be able to move forward. And the other big thing is you're going to realize that, if anyone comes along in the future and tries to convince you to go their way when you don't want to, you're on high alert for that now. Now you're like, no, I'm going in my direction. If anyone tries to tell me not to do what I want, if anyone tries to put me last and put them first, I'm on high alert for that. I can see it coming and I'm ready. So that's a really, really big change for you. And that's why I'm talking about this X, because you need to hear this so that you can move forward, if that's you. Right, so I'm seeing something else here. This is what I was seeing a little bit of before when I started looking over this whole spread just quickly at the start. There's an opportunity coming up for you. It's around work or something around work, business, something like that. Now, it doesn't look like a normal job. So it's not like something you'd apply for and then, you go in and you have an interview and then you do a 9 to... It's not that kind of thing. It feels like it might be something one-off, like a project or a contract, something like that. It has a start and a finish, because the world card down there can be about starts and finishes. So it has a clear start and a clear finish. So it might be for a few months, might be for a year, I don't know. But it's a one-off thing. But it's a big thing, a very big opportunity for you. I'm getting this feeling of missing out at one time. So there was a similar thing, I think, if this is you, that you did at one time. And you thought you had this. I think I've got this. I know I've got this. I've got this opportunity to do this thing, whatever it is. And then at the last minute, when you thought you had this, it feels like you missed out. Very, very disappointing. That's what happened the first time you had this. Because, if you look at these, this 8 of Wands, they're flying into this 5 of Pentacles here. This very sad card about being locked out, missing out. So when this happened the first time, you were going along with all these wands and saying, I've got this, I'm going to have this. And then you missed out and then you were locked out. And you probably missed out on some money as well with that 5 of Pentacles. But what I want you to know is a similar thing, obviously not exactly the same thing, but a similar kind of thing's coming to you. And so you've got to prepare for that. And I think you've got to get your head around doing this again, because I think what happened was, when you lost the first opportunity, you were very upset, very hurt. You can see that with the 5 of Pentacles. And you said to yourself, no, I can't think about this. I just have to put it out of my mind. I'm probably going to go in a totally new direction now. I don't want to think about that direction. So now with this new thing that comes back in, you're going to have to put your head back into the old place again in a way and really rethink this again. And, there's extra money here as well. And by the look of the 5 of Pentacles, I think you need that extra money to come in. So really fantastic opportunity. Now it's coming in very quickly, again, with this 8 of Wands. It's coming in very quickly. Yeah, this is what I'm getting for someone. I'm literally getting a phone call, and it's a phone call that's coming from far away. So I don't know where they are. They're far away from you. Again, it might be that you have to travel with this, depending on where you are in the world right now. Some people can travel, some can't. But yeah, be prepared for this, and be prepared to change your mindset and open this all up again, this old thing that you did last time. So yeah, I hope that makes sense to someone, but it's beautiful. Very, very good. And this is going to build your confidence up as well and help you to move forward, because it's something that you want by yourself. And the other thing is, you're not going to have to ask anyone. You're not going to have to run it by anyone. Only you. So fantastic, fantastic thing. Yeah, just looking at this 8 of Cups, if you say yes to this, and I really, really think you should, you might disappoint some people, especially if there's traveling involved. I'm seeing family, I'm seeing someone who might not like you doing this. And if you look at this, this man's moving forward and he's moving toward his passion. So this is something you're passionate about. He's got this red coat on or whatever it is he's wearing, and he's moving toward what he wants to do. But if you look at the moon, they're very disappointed, or the moon's very disappointed. So someone's going to be looking down, feeling very disappointed on what you're doing. But this is your time now. It's time for you to do what you want, because you've already done what this other person's wanted. And I think you've done what a lot of other people have wanted you to do. And now it's time for you to do what you want to do. This is your life. This is your life now. And this is this big change I'm seeing happening to you. And, you know, I'm not saying, oh, forget everyone else. If people miss you, too bad, just say, go away, I don't get, no, I'm not saying be like that. But you probably are going to have to talk to someone and say, look, I do love you, I care about you. It's not forever. You know, there's an ending to this. I'm not going to be away forever. I'm not going to be doing this forever. But, you know, I really love you. I really care about you. But this is something I have to do for me now. This is something I have to think about myself now. It's time for me and I have to do this. So you might have to just be very gentle with someone, but just tell them. Gentle but firm. That's what I'm seeing with someone here. Okay. Right, so I'm just looking at this Two of Cups down here now. And obviously these two people are talking, and this is a couple. So if you're talking to someone right now, I'm getting a distance between you, because I'm seeing lots of distance and travel all the way through this. So it might be that you're at a distance from someone, it might be that you're not around them right now for whatever reason. There's a very strong bond there, and it's a bond through conversations. So you've had some very deep conversations if this is you with someone. Okay, I feel as if I need to say this to someone. Someone's lacking in confidence, or someone doesn't have a lot of confidence around the bond. They feel as if there's a weakness in this bond. Now, I think it might be partly you, because I think you're feeling this other person pulling back at this time. You're feeling like, oh, there's something happening here. There's something wrong. It doesn't feel right. You know, they're moving backwards. That's kind of the thing I'm getting here. And for them, yeah, this is what I'm getting. It feels like they want to tell you something, but they're afraid to tell you. They're afraid to tell you. Because at the bottom of all this thing that they're afraid of is, yeah, they're afraid of losing. Because look at the top of this Two of Cups. You've got this Eight of Cups. So they're afraid that if they tell you something, you're going to walk away like this man in the Eight of Cups. So there's something they're not telling you. And they want to tell you. And I think because they're not telling you this, you're feeling this kind of pulling back, and you're feeling this kind of, you know, this gap between you, and that's making you feel a bit anxious. So really they're making you anxious, and I think then you're holding back and thinking what's wrong, and then you're making them feel anxious. So you're kind of mirroring each other, and you can see that's what's happening in this card. You know, these two are mirroring each other. So you've got a really strong bond. I can see that you've got a really strong bond. You can see that caduceus between these two cups, and it's almost like DNA. That's how close you are, and that's how much closer you can be